Hey everyone, this is Madeline with the Marin Child Care Council and HEAL. And today's video is going to be on transplanting and how to do that. So I have here a variety of different vegetable starts that will be transplanted in my garden. And I wanted to talk about some of the tips and tricks on knowing when to transplant and the best ways to do so. So if you've started your starts in a greenhouse, I recommend that you take them outside the greenhouse and let them harden off for a few days. Hardening off means that they adapt to the outside temperature instead of that warm indoor greenhouse. And that makes them a lot more resilient when you do transplant them. Another thing that's great to know about transplanting is when to do so. So right here I have some kale starts, and you'll see that they have two first leaves. Those are called the cotyledon leaves. So here are the cotyledon leaves. Those are the first leaves that come out, and they're not true leaves. We're waiting until the true leaf that represents more the vegetable that you are going to be planting comes forward. So right here on the basil, you can see the cotyledon leaf, and now the true leaves have emerged. Once the true leaves have emerged, they are ready to transplant. So here we have a 6-pack of different varieties of vegetables, and I want to talk about the pros and cons of transplanting them. So this one right here is a little too far along. You can see that it's already started growing way past its container. It's gotten a little yellow leaves, and ideally this would have been planted a week or so ago when it was a lot smaller. Here too, you can see that when I pull it out, and this is a method that you can tell the kids to do, is you kind of massage and squeeze the bottom of the 6-pack, and you're gonna turn it to the side and pull out. Now this one's ready to go. You can see that there's actually a lot of root bounding that's happening. You don't want any of your starts to have too much of a root bound where the roots are so condensed. That can put stress on your plant. Likewise, if you have a start that you're trying to get out and it just falls apart, then that also might mean that it needs a little bit longer in its container. So again, I just squeezed this and then I pulled it out, and there it's perfect and ready to go. So here I have a 6-pack, and I'm going to show you once again a simple method in getting your starts out, and it's very helpful for kids to understand too. So you're going to give a little squeeze and massage of the roots to loosen them up out of their pack. Then I like to hold it to the side and put my fingers in between that vegetable. Give it a squeeze again and gently tug it out. So here it is, and ready to transplant. So some of the tools that you could use is your hands, which is great for children, right? Have them dig those holes and then transplant the vegetables. I really like using a hori-hori. This is for me personally in my garden. It's a great tool, and it even has a little measuring depth to it. But you can also just use a simple shovel as well. So here I have laid out all of the lettuce starts, keeping in mind how big those heads of lettuce are going to become when they're fully mature. This also helps children know kind of where to plant for those older kids, so they can find a spot where there's a lettuce start laying on the ground and dig a hole directly underneath that. When you're digging a hole, you want to make a hole deep enough for the roots. We never want to bend or twist those roots. Ideally, you're digging a hole as deep as the roots and even covering a little above. So I always say dig that hole, then pop it in the ground, and then cover up the soil. You might want to break it up and gently tuck it in. And you kind of want to compact the soil just a little bit to kind of make sure it's snug. And I always tell kids to give it a nice little blessing or a good luck for it to grow into that beautiful fruit or vegetable it will become. Now ideally you are going to transplant in the early morning or late afternoon. That way the plants have some time to get situated before that midday heat. So although I'm planting midday, I'm going to make sure they get extra water and some tender care. Today is actually not too hot of a day. After you transplant, you really need to water them in well. I even actually like to water my starts before I even transplant. That way I know that those roots are wet. So once everything's transplanted, give it a good water, and you're gonna wanna water regularly, every day, sometimes twice a day if it's in the summer, until those roots get established and those plants are doing well. And after a week or so, then you can sporadically space out the watering. So I hope that helps. Please like and ask questions, send me more ideas for videos, and get gardening.